we're going to go ahead and get this party started. So, all right. So, Article 550, mobile homes, manufactured homes, and mobile home parks. All right. So, obviously, in our code book right here, Article 550, it says the provisions of this article cover the electrical conductors and equipment installed within or on mobile and manufactured homes, the conductors that connect mobile and manufactured homes to a supply of electricity, and the installation of electrical wiring, luminaires, blah, blah. Anyway, you guys can read. All right. So one thing I want you guys to think about is anytime you're dealing with mobile homes, there's a chance that the mobile home will not have the service actually mounted to the building. Do you guys know why we don't mount the service directly to the building?
Because it's a movable structure.
It's a movable structure, absolutely. A lot of times the inspectors will not even allow you to hook up to power so long as the axles are actually underneath the trailer. You have to actually 100% remove the axles from the trailer, making it an actual structured home. Depends on the county that you live in. All right, so we're just going to go through here. Among dwelling types, mobile home have the highest rate of fires. So obviously they say, oh my gosh, we have a ton of fires. We've got to address this. How do we address this? Well, they identified that a lot of the problems were dryers. Dryers create most of the heat. Faulty electrical wiring, because a lot of the double wides actually have connectors that connect to them. I know that just prior to spring break, myself, Grant, and Trenton all went out to what is it, Black River or Black Creek or something like that, out toward past Freeport there. Anyway, we went. We had to crawl underneath her trailer because she had lost power, and the rats had got inside her floor system and chewed on all her wires, and the connectors were burnt out. I mean, it was a mess. And we installed a bunch of junction boxes and stuff to try and mitigate that. But when you're dealing with mobile homes, it's not a one-stop done, and you got to maintain them for sure. So, all right, the article recognized that the same structures used for mobile or manufactured homes also used for non-dwelling purposes such as construction offices, clinics, and construction trailers and stuff like that. So it excludes those structures from 100 amp minimum service requirement. That's another thing. In mobile homes, especially the new ones, they put in the 200 amp services, so everything runs out of the inside home. So you don't have to run your stove, and you don't have to run your electric furnace and stuff from the outside service like we typically do in a home. So we have two panels. We have one service exterior with the meter, right? And then we have your inside panel, which is your branch circuit panel, which is what we call our lighting and outlets panel. So we typically put all of our heavy loads, the appliances that require more power, we like to put them out there at the meter base. The reason we like to do that is because when they draw electricity, we don't want it drawing voltage and current from the lighting, because it's a big shift in that panel if you do it like that. And unfortunately, mobile homes, they do that. So we have to make sure that we're actually supplying them with the appropriate size conductors, because if you don't, then every time your water heater turns on, or every time you turn on the stove, your lights will dim, or every time your air conditioner kicks on, your lights will dim. So just have to be careful of that. All right. So as you can see in the illustration, we have a transportable structure built on a permanent chassis and designed to be used as a dwelling unit without a permanent foundation. In this article, unless otherwise indicated, the term mobile home includes manufactured homes. So, all right. So, looks like I lost Joe. Joe, you still on there? There you are. Okay.
I'm here. I'm just got to take care of a baby right now.
No worries. No worries. All right. One of the key differences between the NEC definitions of manufactured homes and mobile home is that the manufactured home can be on or off a permanent foundation. While a mobile home isn't usually intended to be installed on a permanent foundation, also the code states that a manufactured home is 8 feet or more wide and 40 feet or more long in traveling mode. NEC doesn't specify any minimum size for mobile homes. Okay. All right. 550.4, the general requirements, mobile home not intended as use as a dwelling unit. A mobile home not intended for dwelling, those equipped for sleeping purposes only, contractor on-site offices, construction job, dormitories, mobile studio, dressing rooms, banks, clinics. So, they bring in these mobile homes. A lot of times they just bring them in, like, for example, when Tyndall got slammed, they brought in a tremendous amount of mobile trailers because they had to evacuate all the students out of the dormitories, and they put them in these mobile trailers. Is what it is. So what they're saying is required to meet the 100 amp minimum circuit capacity. So what would typically happen is we would bring into 1 meter, put in a sub panel, and out of that sub panel, we would feed each of these mobile buildings, these structures, because these structures aren't going to pull but maybe 60 amps of power max, because they don't have stoves, they don't have, they don't have everything that a normal house has. They have heating and cooling, they have a hot water heater system, and lighting. That's about it. So just keep that in mind. All right. So scrolling up right here, it says where a mobile or manufactured home isn't used as a dwelling unit, the service or feeder conductor only needs to be sized to supply the actual load.
How do they know what the actual load is going to be?
Or it would be based on the demand of what's inside the building. So if we have, for example, if I know inside that particular contractor's office, I'm only going to run lighting and a window unit air conditioning with no heat, then I'm probably only going to supply it with a 30 amp breaker.
Okay.
20 amps for the AC, and probably no more than 10 amps for the outlets and lights, because it's just going to be computers. So, all right. Receptacle outlets. So ground fault circuit protected receptacle, all 15, 20, 125 volt installed outlet. Outdoors in compartment accessible from outdoors must be GFI protected, as well as those installed in bathrooms, including receptacle luminaire. So if it's an exterior outlet, it has to be GFI. The rules doesn't change. They're all the same. So GFI protection required. Scrolling down right here. Looking in this kitchen layout, this is just a floor plan right here. GFI protection required for receptacles serve countertops and kitchens and receptacles within 6 feet of a wet bar sink. So as you can see, GFI protection isn't required for your appliance. It's required for receptacles to serve countertops because they're not on the countertops. So as you can see, that one's on the countertop. All countertop receptacles require protection. This one for that little mini refrigerator, nope. That one there over here on the wall, nope. That one actually attached to the end of the peninsula, yes. Ground fault protection required within 6 feet. Looking down, pipe heating cable receptacle outlet, mobile and manufactured home pipe heat tape receptacle tapes or receptacle outlets must be located on the underside of the unit and within 2 feet of the cold water inlet. I'm sorry. So pipe heating cable receptacle outlet. Okay, that's what they're referring to up here in this illustration right here. So it shows that you have a stud wall right here. That's what that is. And they're showing that this is exterior stuff right here. This is an exterior receptacle still required. And they're showing that if you have a pipe heating, where I guess it radiates and heats the pipes underneath the mobile trailer, and the outlet has to be underneath the floor and within 2 feet of the cold water inlet. Connected to the interior GFI protection circuit, so it has to be GFI protected. Has to be on a circuit where all the outlets are on the load side of the GFI, makes sense. The pipe heating cable receptacle outlet must not be considered as the required outdoor receptacle. I don't
We have
know.
those in Alaska.
I was gonna say I don't know really that much about the, but it makes sense.
It keeps your water from freezing up because it's well water, so it's cold coming out of the ground. So
Yeah, that's what I figured as well. So thank you. The purpose of connecting pipe heating cable receptacle to an interior GFI circuit is to alert the occupants if the protection device has opened. For example, if it trips for whatever reason, you know it because it's up top. If you put a GFI receptacle underneath your trailer, you'll never know until it's too late. Your pipes are frozen and you're like, oh my gosh, I have no water, my pipes are busted, and the outlet was tripped. So receptacle outlets not permitted are going to be receptacle outlets must not be installed within or directly over a bathtub. That's just a bad idea. Receptacle must not be installed in a face-up position in any countertop. That's an obvious because water could pour into it, create an electrical fault. So if we scroll down right here, it says right here, I'm going to see if I can increase the size of this. Can you guys see my screen still?
Yes, and we can zoom in.
Oh, and you have that available. Fantastic. Good deal. All right, so I can zoom out then if you got that, because I just don't want to. I think that's good right here. All right. Says receptacle can be installed next to but not within or directly over the bathtub or shower space. You guys can see that illustration. So, all right. 550.25 arc fault circuit interrupter protection. So we know that arc fault circuit interrupters are the fault between the neutral and the ground. Okay. Requirements: all 15 or 20 amp 120 volt branch circuits that supply outlets in family rooms, dining rooms, living rooms, parlors, libraries, dens, bathrooms, sunrooms, recreational rooms, closets, hallways, or similar rooms or areas of a mobile home and manufactured homes must be arc fault circuit interrupter protected. And it gives you the illustration right here. It gives you all the rooms I just mentioned. Okay. All right, part 3. Let's see. So, part 3, distribution system. The electrical distribution system to mobile home lots must be 120 or 240 volts single phase. Okay. Allowable demand factors. Mobile home park feeder service loads must be calculated. Remember what I said a while ago about the dormitories and how they set them up and they have a main box, and now that main box, we provide power going out. That's no different than we do at a mobile home. Joe, you dealt with this a lot when it dealt with
RV parks.
RV parks, exactly.
Yeah.
So
We have a transformer, and that's 240, and then we break it off to 42 ways.
wow, 42 different sites off of one.
Yes, sir. But we do have more in the day use section.
Now, those were 30 amp. Those were single phase, 120 volt, 30 amp, right?
That is correct.
Okay. So you could literally have a single pole breaker. So they weren't consuming too much, double the space with a double pole breaker. Okay.
No, only time is the 30 amp breakers with the air conditioners. Air conditioner load breaks down 30 amp breakers quite quickly with the Florida heat.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. So it shows you right here when you're doing a demand factor load for 35 sites is 24%. 16, so if you have 16,000 watts at 35 sites, multiply that by 2024, you get 134 volt or watts, volt amps, calculated load. So divide that by 240, be 560 amp demand load. Now, that's if each. Now this is mobile home park, so it absolutely has to be 240 volt because you're dealing with mobile home. RV parks are a little different because RVs, anything 30 amp or less, is going to be 120 volts. When you get up to 50 amp, then it goes up to 240 volt. So, did you guys have any of those over at the state park or national
Yes,
park?
yes, we do. We have 50 amp as well.
Now that wasn't at every site though, was it?
No, the larger sites. The smaller ones are like 20 feet and less. We try to just keep it tent sites. And then the bigger sites, they're the big RVs and the big load takers, I guess I would say them.
Yeah, they used a lot more power, so they probably paid a lot more too. All right, 550, 32, talking about our disconnects. Disconnecting means suitable for use as a service equipment for mobile home must be located adjacent to, within sight from, but not more than 30 feet from the exterior wall of the mobile home it serves. And it must be rated at not less than 100 amp. So essentially what they're saying, you at a minimum, you have to have a 100 amp disconnect, and it has to be at least within 30 feet of the building and within sight. So it has to be within sight, but not more than 30 feet. Anybody give me an idea why that'd be a requirement?
I don't know.
Emergency, because you've got to shut off the power. For example, Lord forbid, the thing catches on fire. They have to be able to shut the power off to that unit quickly so that there's not an electrical issue while they're trying to fight the fire. So the disconnect for a mobile manufactured home can't be mounted in or on the mobile home. We talked about that in the very beginning, right? The service cannot be on the building itself. It has to be on a separate pedestal. And it must be adjacent to, within sight, not more than 30 feet. According to Article 100, within sight means that it's visible and not more than 50 feet from one another. Disconnecting means must be installed, so the bottom of the enclosure isn't less than 2 feet. See, this is the first time I've seen this in an illustration where it's actually specific about how high your disconnects have to be off the ground. Because obviously we can't put them on the ground because water splashes and so forth. They'll rust them out, short them out, stuff like that. So right here in Article 550.32F, it's saying that it has to be at least 2 feet above the finished grade or working platform. And plus, you don't want to get down and have to service, your equipment. So food for thought. This goes back to all my electricians out there that actually wires houses. Whenever you are unsure of what the finished, landscape's going to be, find out how high. So whenever you penetrate out of your building or house or home or whatever, then you're not putting it, at 7 feet above finished grade or, within 3 feet of finished grade, because there's no reason nobody should have to bend over and get on their hands and knees and actually wire up this disconnect or service it. All right. Part B, manufactured home service equipment. The service equipment for a manufactured home is permitted to be installed in or on the manufactured home, provided all conditions contained 1 through 7 are met. So, and of course, we'll reference Article 550.11 there. All right. Must include in its written installation instructions information indicating that the home must be secured in place by an anchoring system or installed on and secured to a permanent foundation. Okay? Just like a house off grade, essentially. The installation of the service equipment complies with Part 1 through Part 7 of Article 230. The means are provided for the connection of a grounding electrode conductor to the service equipment and routing it outside the structure. Number 4, grounding and bonding the service must be in accordance with Part 1 through 5 of Article 250. Essentially, as if though it's a residential home. The manufacturer must include in its written installation instruction one method of grounding the service equipment to the installation site. The instructions must clearly state the other methods of grounding are found in Article 250. Number 6, the minimum size grounding electrode conductor must be specified in the instructions. And a red warning label must be mounted on or adjacent to the service equipment. The label must state the following. Do not provide electrical power until the grounding electrodes is installed and connected. It is the service equipment. If the service equipment isn't installed in or on the unit, the installation must comply with 550.32a. And now, one thing they have to make sure also is because sometimes all mobile homes have a metal frame structure. And part of that structure is that it has to be bonded to the actual service itself. So as the main reason for it, if there's a fault or something like that, instead of energizing the frame and then of course anything that's attached to the frame from electrocuting or shocking someone, therefore it allows it to actually bond and go to the ground. So make sure if you ever hook up a trailer or a mobile home, especially the single wides that have the aluminum siding, make sure that that frame and the siding are both bonded to the service. If you don't do that, you're setting your customer up to get hurt or even killed. So please don't do that. All right, so let's look up here real quick. All right, so it says manufactured home, service disconnect. The service can be located in or on the manufactured home. Permanent foundation. Manufacturer must be include written instructions on grounding and service equipment. All right. So Article 550.33. All right. Let's see. Service equipment for mobile home manufacturers must be rated like less than 100 amp. So we talked about it in the very beginning. Talked about a lot of the construction trailers, dormitory trailers, stuff like that. Things that we would not necessarily consider a mobile home, but we would consider them a manufactured home. We wouldn't necessarily may not require a full 100 amp service. And in that case, just like Joe had mentioned earlier, we'd bring a service into one location from there, from the transformer, and then distribute the electrical circuits out to the different sites. It's no different with these mobile homes. If you're at a trailer park or something, there may be certain things that are already pre-set up and pre-designated for it. So, but anyway, most of them all are 100 amps or more. We just got to make sure that we go to Article 310.15B16A to ensure that we're putting the proper size feeder wire to the proper size service disconnect. So just make sure we get that part done. Which I think segues into this next topic, which is the feeder conductors. The feeder conductors for a mobile home must consist of either a listed cord that was factory installed or a permanently installed feeder that consists of 4 insulated color-coded conductors. Feeder conductors must be installed in accordance with 250.32b, and the capacity of that feeder must be rated not less than 100 amp, 120 240 volt, and can be sized using Article 310.15b7. Not the table, but the actual article. All right. And of course, you see the illustration right here. The center of the operating handle must not be more than 6 to 7 feet high. You have to be able to reach that service disconnect. It can't be no lower than 2 foot. All right. So, do we have any questions? Any concerns? Anything that just like, yeah, that makes no sense whatsoever. Do I have everybody on mute? Is that what it is?
Say it again.
I was just saying if anybody had any questions or concerns of anything we covered just now.
No. I do have, well, I'm kind of wondering, so the mounting height for all of this stuff, up there, we have power poles that, we obviously put in the ground. And from my knowledge up there, I don't know if they have it down here, they have what they call a belly button ring. And it's a silver, it looks like a flat washer. And basically it tells you how deep you can bury that pole, because when that pole is buried or in the ground, that washer looking piece should be about belly button height, which gives you your correct height for mounting other things.
Okay.
So
Here
is that
locally,
not down here?
well, here locally, there's just a standard height. We're not so much concerned. We are concerned about depth. Now, don't get me wrong. We just don't have the freeze line like you guys do. But we do have a lot more sand. So here's the requirements that our local municipality or power companies have. All right. If we are going over a roof, okay, say that it's going from transformer over to the house, and I'll explain more why here in a second, because I'm not answering your question exactly, but it has to be 12 feet.
Right.
At the belly where the conductor actually loops has to be at least 10 feet from the ground.
Okay.
The meter itself cannot be any lower, should not be any lower than the bottom of the can, should not be any lower than 3 feet. Okay, that's low.
Yeah, that seems very low.
It's extremely low, but that's your threshold. You can't be any lower than that. But it can't also, your meter height cannot be any higher than 6 feet.
Okay.
So that means the top of your cabinet cannot be any higher than 6'6".
Yeah, I want to say that belly button ring that they're calling it is, because that's what the electricians up there call it. I want to say it's right around 4 feet.
That would make sense. That would make sense because typically the meter height should be at 5 feet.
Okay.
I mean, literally, your eyes should be able to, at 5'10", be looking directly at the meter. We typically bury the pole 48 inches deep in the ground.
Yeah, I want to say that that's what that is too. But
Your boxes are usually only
permafrost heaves it up too. So
What'd you say, Addison?
I said meter boxes are only like what, 2.5 feet long? 2 feet
Yeah,
long?
they're typically 24 inches long. So, but that's the norm. If we're setting a power pole, now a lot of things are going underground now. So we're literally mounting things on 6x6s, 8x8, stuff like that, and building backboards and panels and stuff like that. So it's it's really a lot of times it's at the discretion of you, the electrician, because I can remember several mobile homes that I've wired, and what would happen is, I say at our discretion, not really our discretion, because we're not allowed to actually put these poles anywhere outside of where the power company actually puts their stake. They will come out and actually drive a stake, and they'll put meter here. And that's where you have to dig and put whether it's overhead, underground, doesn't matter. Because a lot of times, especially with Chelco, they'll give you the first 60 feet for underground for free. Or for anywhere, coming from anywhere. So anything beyond that, obviously the customer has to pay for. So as an electrician, when you're setting your temporary power pole, AKA also mobile home, where you're setting your power pole, you put it outside of that, you'll pay for the difference, and that's not good. Any questions?
nope.
No. What about you, Travis?
No, not me.
All right, so I'm going to put it out on Remind, let everybody know that this is a recorded session so that if anybody missed it, want to catch it later, you want to add this, please add this to your time cards. I'm going to stop recording real quick.